Gamers, I've got only one thing to say to you, and it's this. I'm gonna gourmandize! I'm gourmandizing! We got Necro Sword. Here we go. We got the Sylvari in a suit. Necro High Mobility Vampire Lord Necro. Not gonna lie, I think people are gonna like this one, okay? This is pretty much what every Necro main out there has been looking for. We've got mobility, we've got life sacrifice, we've got a million skills, actually. Every skill has a flip skill. So we've got the auto attack, then 4 skills that all double, giving us an 8 total skills for the Necromancer. And the way you get your extra flip skill is by sacrificing your life to cast a second spicy version to destroy your opponent. So basically the gimmick on this weapon is you have to kind of choose what ability you want to use in a way, because your health is your resource now, right? Like you have to spend your HP in order to use a variety of other abilities. And of course, we don't know what's going on here that much because we've got a lot of skills, so we don't see a huge amount of information. But here we go. I hope you're all hungry for another look at a new weapon, because today I'll be giving you a taste of Necromancer swords. I also like how the paragraph here that is usually at the end is now at the start. So we've actually come full circle here. If you recall in the first Ranger post, it was said, I'll explain below. Well, good news. Now we actually are explaining below. As we can see here, we're explaining below on what exactly is going on here. Let's check it out. Insatiable appetites. Necromancer sword skills focus on dealing powerful strike damage in an area. So we've got AoE damage while consuming enemies' vital energy to sustain the wielder. The Mainhand sword skill, Path of Gluttony, will allow the Necromancer to leap to their enemy, healing themselves for each enemy struck. Hungering Maelstrom, Offhand sword skill 4, will damage and steal health from enemies in a targeted area. So there we go. Some pretty cool skills there. We've got that mobility. Finally, Necro actually has a little bit of movement on a weapon. This is pretty much a first. Necro historically incredibly slow, but no longer, my friends. With so much healing, a Necromancer might find themselves with a surplus of health. Luckily, their swords always hunger. Each sword has a secondary ability that can be activated, sacrificing health to sate your swords. Path of Gluttony can be reactivated to cast Gorge. You leap again, repeating the effects of the first while also corrupting boons. Hungering Maelstrom's reactivation is Gourmandize. Gourmandize will damage and chill enemies struck by Hungering Maelstrom. So that was almost like a thing that kind of like you can latch it onto someone and activate it to slow them. So you can like leap towards them and then slow them if they start moving away from you, right? So pretty cool, pretty powerful skill. And again, there's going to be a lot of lifesteal here. So there's almost going to be this little dance where you go, okay, you use the normal skills to steal life, essentially, or gain life somehow. Then you use that life to spend it elsewhere as well. So big sustain potentially, but also this kind of decision making where you have to choose your how to spend your health to get bonus effects. Necromancer swords will allow you to sustain yourself through fights while also increasing your offensive capabilities at the price of your own health. Will the risk be worth the reward, or will you find yourself eaten alive? Boom. There it is. So that's the post. Not a huge amount, because again, there's a lot of skills here, so this is definitely one to watch out for there. In terms of where are we going to see this, I mean, any weapon like this just feels really... Let's see how well this ages. Something like this is just almost like guaranteed to be pretty good. It does damage, it's power damage, it has a lot of abilities, so it's going to have some flexibility and just in general... presumably a pretty high power level, because in general, more skills is better, because it allows you to essentially have more resources, like you have more abilities to spend to handle varying scenarios. And yeah, seems pretty legit. I don't really have that much comment on it, because we don't know that enough about it, really, to make any big judgments. And again, because this is a more damage-oriented weapon, I can't go, oh, this has got barrier. This is almost certainly going to be good. Like, oh, this has got this piece of utility. It's almost certainly going to be good. We need to see the numbers to see how well it's going to perform. But I would be amazed if you don't run this on your Power Reapers, for example. It's got that AoE damage as well and mobility. So that's really nice for any kind of Power Reaper build in PvP or indeed in PvE, to be frank, actually. And the area effect attack stuff, that could also be interesting in World versus World, potentially. We'll have to see. Like, in general, Necro has some pretty good weapons in in World versus World, and it might depend on if the Boon Corrupt is AoE. Like, if the sword happens to have some AoE Boon Corrupt, then obviously that's going to be amazing, because that is exactly what you're looking for in that kind of World versus World scenario. Something interesting to note here is this does actually appear to have a ranged auto attack. Check this out. It's, again, not entirely clear. This could be a different ability, right? Like maybe some of the chain skills, but as you can see here, it looks like we might be dealing with this, like firing out these kind of green lasers, these green kind of lines, doing auto attack damage here. Then we also have this other range component. So it is going to be a bit of a melee range weapon. So you can leap in to smack people. You're going to have a couple of melee attacks, a couple of range attacks. So a very interesting weapon, kind of akin to Catalyst Hammer almost, with the way that actually works out. If this weapon is ranged, feels bad to be an Axe Necro fan, doesn't it? Because in a lot of ways that would kind of, not exactly obsolete the Axe, because of course it has that single target burst that can be very, very useful. Well, this is more of an area-focused weapon, but this would be amazing for PvE if you do have this kind of ranged component there as well. But yeah, very exciting build. You know, I will admit, this is one of the ones that I feel like I'm not mega hyped about. I think it was because I was going like, oh man, you know, Necro Sword, it's going to be so insane, it's going to be so sick. But what we've got is like a very just solid concept here. Maybe not quite as flashy as some of the other ones. We do have this like pretty epic effect there, firing out that giant green orb into this NPC there, so that's going to be a fun skill. But I think this is going to be one that we've definitely got to watch, right? We've got to see how this actually turns out, how much damage it's going to do, and I think the playstyle is going to be fun. It's going to be a very high-paced, high-tempo rotation, kind of like flipping between these skills, getting your health back, spending it, and so on. Yeah, should be good. I can see this seeing play in every single game mode as well, on a variety of builds. Realistically, it's going to be mostly on Power Reaper. In competitive, like maybe Power Harbinger as well. You know, that is some pretty serious cope, but who knows? Power Harbinger and PvE, not really so much. And obviously on Scourge, you're going to have very limited applicability on this because this is kind of an interesting thing, right? Like Necromancer elite specs are actually a bit more focused than other elite specs. Like Reaper is, Reaper does have a Condi build as well, but you know, in general, it's kind of like a power-oriented spec. Scourge, very Condi-oriented. And then finally you have Harbinger, which is basically Condi, right? Like it does technically have a power tree, but it's not good, right? You're a little bit more pigeonholed in the type of damage you're going to do on these elite specs, right, compared to other elite specializations. So you can kind of see where the builds are going to show up and what abilities are going to end up seeing play with this stuff. But yeah, it'll be very interesting. I think another thing to talk about here is that this kind of paves the way for some weaponry works, I think. I can really see them turning Dagger into a support weapon now, and Axe into something else as well. Maybe like really trying to ramp up that very big nuke to give it that identity, because it looks like Sword is going to be this kind of melee power cleave weapon, in addition to the Greatsword for Necromancer. That would leave Dagger open to being turned into some kind of support weapon, and then again Axe into again some kind of like sniper weapon almost, right, that has this kind of like really high burst utility for taking down targets quickly. One also thing, this is power creep, by the way, because notice this. Necro, especially Power Necro, has always struggled with having a good offhand. It's quite difficult to have a good offhand on Necro power builds, but now you're getting a really good main hand, probably, and a really good offhand simultaneously. So Power Reaper, almost certainly going to be extremely good with this. And honestly, if the lifesteal is good, it's going to be even tankier than it already is. Like, Power Reaper it's pretty much the tankiest DPS build, certainly power DPS, with Shroud and just the massive damage reduction you get from Shroud 3 and Reaper. If you slap on a bunch of extra lifesteal on top of that and ways to resustain it, even though you're sacrificing life, you're going to be ridiculously tanky. Because bear in mind, sacrificing life in a squad is not really a big deal. There's so much healing going out from regeneration, just like massive healing output. As long as you don't go in Shroud before you've kind of healed yourself up or been healed up, which is going to happen almost all of the time realistically because of just how powerful supports are, you are going to be an unkillable monstrosity, especially seeing as you now have that kiting potential if you have some range damage, so you can keep doing DPS while you're at range on this Reaper. Should be insanely good. I guess the only thing that might be a little bit troll is that you may have a couple of animation looks. So look at this one. This is pretty cool, right? Look, here we go. What? Blah! Look at that. Just leap in there and whack them with the swords. Pretty cool stuff. Firing out some green projectiles. I mean, wow. Necro-themed. Necro mains rejoice. Stay tuned for the final reveal. And that, by the way, is our final class weapon reveal for Guild Wars 2. Necro Sword was the last one. Will we be devoured by the swords? Will the swords devour our enemies? Will we gourmandize our opponents? But that's it. It's over. No new weapons. But in just 1 week, more or less, we get to see a preview stream. And honestly, it's going to take them so long, because I guess they've got to do like a balanced preview stream at the same time almost. Although I guess not, actually, because they already did that. So yeah, they have to do a huge stream going over all of these weapons. It's going to take them a long time. I cannot wait to see all of the memes that Roy, Trig, and CMC are going to manage to squeeze in to the stream. I think it's going to be very exciting. There'll be placeholder UI. Okay, placeholder UI, guys? Oh my god. Can we believe that? In a beta test? That's unreal. I honestly can barely believe that, to be honest. But anyway, I'll be watching that. And in fact, you can watch it along with me. Okay, on the 27th? Yeah. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, the 27th. We can watch it together and see all that stuff, because that's when we're really going to get the information, because bear in mind, we basically know nothing about these weapons. I know we kind of know something, but we need to know the numbers, we need to see, like, all of the remaining abilities, because we haven't seen all of the skills, right, for a lot of these weapons, so there's a lot more to actually learn and understand. So I will see you all there, but that is going to be it for the expanded weapon proficiency. What was your favorite weapon? What was your least favorite weapon? Okay, you got to flame the one that was your least favorite, and you got to say why your favorite one is the best. As always, follow, subscribe, social media, hand over your money, right? All that kind of good stuff. You know, that's the content creator thing, guys. And believe me, I am a content lord. I am a content god, all right? So you better appreciate it by clicking the like button, all right? And leaving a comment. But hey, that's it. Thanks for watching, gamers. I'll see you on the next one for the stream and also a variety of other videos. So take it easy. I'm out of here. Boom.